lot to speak to because I know the brakes designer couldn't come, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But so we didn't get to look at it too in depth. But first of all, the system seems very cost effective, which is good, right? In your case, so the floating front calipers instead of opposed pistons, that's good. And yeah, I think you all can prove that meets performance expectations. Something I noticed is that the brake pedal is not very stiff. It has a lot of travel, and I don't think it's how it mounts to the chassis. That seems fine. I think it's in the system somewhere, like maybe air. So I would try to bleed the system again and try to get air out, right? If it's not that, component stiffness is very important, so you need to try to figure out what's contributing to all that brake pedal travel, right? Because it should be stiff, and it might be the calipers, how much the pistons move every time you apply the brakes. Something else that should help you guys pull cost out of it is here. Let's look at this. Is, through the chassis, you have your brake lines braided stainless, right?
Yes.
You only need those braided stainless lines in parts that move, right? So you need it out here. And if the pedal box is adjustable, you need some up there, right? But through the rest of the car, you can have hard metal line, like just stainless steel line. And some cars even use like copper line, and that will save you a lot of money, and it'll be stiffer, right? Because this is not as stiff, so it'll help your pedal be firmer. And this stuff is very expensive. So you can use stainless line through the rest of the car, and that will cut costs and improve the stiffness of the system.
We thought it wasn't permitted that we have different material lines. We thought that,
Right, yeah, you can like a 3/16 inch stainless steel tubing through, and then just this stuff out here and at the pedal box. I think when I was talking to you all about the deceleration value of the car, you said 3 Gs. That's very high. I don't think any car here can achieve that, even the cars with aerodynamic wings. So I would expect this to be closer to half of that, maybe 1.5. 2 at most. So I don't know where you got that value from, but I would recheck your calculations and even accelerometer on the car to actually measure that. So you go drive the car and test it and do those stops and use the accelerometer data to see the braking deceleration. And there's tire data available. You just got to check what kind of surface it's on. But the simple bicycle model and tire data should tell you how much the car is able to decelerate. But I would check the 3 Gs. It seems very high.
Okay.
And one of you can take my email address and send me an email with questions you have, all of your calculations, and I can double check all of that. Just another thing is the fit and finish of the cockpit controls and brake pedal box area. So I noticed the clutch cable is broken here, and you had to refix it, and the throttle cable was broken. Do you know why those are detached? Is it because of the routing of the cables through the car, and maybe it's too much friction, right? So just pay attention to clean routings and make sure the cables and brake lines have room so that there's not too much tension on the cables and then they break, right? Let's see what else. And my last thing, just for the cockpit and ergonomics, driver controls, is I noticed this gauge is air-fuel ratio, and that's beneficial for tuning, right, the motor. But that area should be dedicated to useful information to the driver, right? So when you're driving, I don't think air-fuel ratio is very important to the driver. Maybe something like RPM or some other gauge that can help the driver drive faster and reliably is more beneficial. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And do you have any questions for me? I know there wasn't a brakes person to speak to, so it's kind of difficult, but
Yes,
that's okay.
don't worry, that was a problem for us.
Yeah.
But In fact, we have the information for the pilot in the screen that we have in the steering wheel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so if someone takes my email address and I can help you with calculations or feedback or anything like that, I'd love to help, and I know it was a challenge getting everyone here. So
Okay.
you guys have a car, so that's something to be proud of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Your name, please?
John, Jon.
J
Jon. So
Jon.
Yep. And then Washington.